Okay. And the employee tuition discount applied right on the tuition table. That's back up there as far as simplifying things and the rate tables is if you're an employee, you no longer have to turn in the grant form. If you're an employee, when you register, there's going to be a line on our side that says, okay, you're an employee and you got charged $76 credit hour. And then on the next line, it's going to say, you're an employee and you got a discount of $76 credit hour. And now you have a balance of zero. So, for full-time, this is for full-time employees, excuse me. So there's not, you have this, an account with a balance on it, and we're waiting for you to bring in paperwork, and then we have to process the paperwork, and then, and then maybe there, maybe something goes wrong, or maybe, so no, it's just done. It's just done when you register. So again, simple. And then the integrations and impacts, we're going to focus on that word educated, because there were just a lot of processes that the amazing Kathberger educated us on, and because we just didn't know. There are a lot of new people in our department that have come in the last few years, and over time, and things just slip through, and somebody teaches you how to do part of your job, but not, oh well, or you can do this, and it just and you just don't learn how to do everything, and we're like, oh, that's what that help button means. We all know how to use that help button now, and how helpful that help button is. And we have just, I think that probably is one of the biggest things that we've learned, is just how much, not even anything new, but how to use what we already know to make it work better for us. Okay, housing and meal plans. I don't even know if there's any Campus Life people here right now, and Crystal isn't even with them anymore. So Jody, I hope, gets the benefit of everything that we worked with Crystal on for a few days. But they were having problems with their billing setup. And so the amazing Kathberger worked with Crystal and got their billing tables all squared away. They were missing codes, and they were missing dates, and simple. Again, it was simple things that they were missing, and it just needed to get plugged in and done right. And then everything was working smoothly for them. So everything should still be working smoothly for them. And this was a big thing, but they did establish a meal plan for summer billing rates. So they didn't have that before. She was doing it all manually. And so they got that working. And that was a big win for Crystal. And this is our big thing right here. E-commerce went live in September. And yes, did you all hear it at the E-Center? They probably heard us cheering about this. Yes? Yeah. And I know it was, and not even over the internet, but probably live. Because this means big things for the students at AWC. This means that the students can go online and pay their bills, and they're going, this actually means a lot of things, but they can go online and pay their bills. It's going to show on their account in real time right then. There's not going to be that 5 or 10 day delay that if they paid on Nelnet, that full payment. So, and that solves a lot of problems that delay was creating. It means that we're not going to have to hold credit card information here on campus any longer. So that helps us stay PCI compliant. The students can still pay with Visa, MasterCard, Discover, the same as they always have been able to. It also, this is a big thing for our office, is, excuse me, when, if a student happens to drop a class and has a credit on their account and they paid their tuition with a credit card, we can now refund directly back to their credit card. So it's not a process of the student has a credit on their account, we have to create a voucher, we have to refund worth a check, which now involves accounts payable in the process. So no, it just goes right back. As soon as we do the refund through when they drop and it creates a refund, it just goes automatically back onto their credit card. Simple. And then again, no delay. So, big thing right there. Okay, this is just what the forms look like. Excuse me. The payment processing, it is if the students come in to pay with at the cashier or if they pay on their web advisor, either way. It goes through PayPal. So the one on the left, anybody who ever pays online, if you buy anything online, you're familiar with that. And then the one on the right, through web advisor. Okay, I'm going to introduce Danelle, who's the sponsor billing specialist.
Okay, I can't see without glasses, so guess what? Okay, for a lot of you, I don't know, some of you may not be familiar with what sponsored billing actually is, and so just to kind of go over that a little bit with you first. It encompasses a variety of entities that may cover a particular charge on a student that a student may incur. By that, I'm saying that different sponsors may pay all of their tuition, but no fees. They may pay 100% of all their charges. They may pay a set dollar amount, towards their charges. Some of those sponsors allow a student to have additional financial aid, whether that be Pell or scholarships. Others absolutely do not. They want to make sure the financial aid posts first. They'll only pick up whatever the difference is. So there's a wide variety of them. Some of those that we particularly deal with, just to give you an example, are all the active duty military. All the TAs that come through. They pay specific classes and specific amounts. They don't cover everything. You've got YPIC, on the other hand, who for most of their students will cover 100% of their charges, including the transportation fee. And then you have individual businesses or an individual person who may be covering a particular student for whatever the reason may be, or for whatever that class is that may enhance their work, within that firm. So there's a wide variety of them. So that's kind of what the sponsored billing encompasses, and that's what we do in that's what I do in that department. So let me see where we're at here. Okay. Orientation and trained staff to utilize newer sponsored billing functions. Oh my gosh, the amazing Catholic, she said. So much of that was available to us. However, we just really didn't know how to use it and that it was even there for us. We've gained a great deal of knowledge on how to have the ability to be more specific on the sponsor statements, because once we process these statements, different sponsors require specific things. I mean, I really have sponsors that want a counselor's name on there, that want the last four of a social security number on there. They want to see it broken down between tuition, fees, transportation fee. They want to be very, very specific. And then I have others who absolutely just want a total. That's all they care about, the student name and a total. So with CAS assistance, we've been able to actually implement this at the level when we build the sponsorship at the very beginning, instead of what I in the past had done would be manipulated on Microsoft Word, depending on what each one wanted. So that has been a big, big win on our side. So in addition to that, with the sponsorship copy, some of our sponsorships are very large, like the military TA. So with her assistance, we've learned that we can actually copy those students over from term to term, instead of having to go back in and re-enter each student that's involved. And granted, sometimes they may not be registered for the following semester, but we can pull those out of there very easily without having to continually add these same students over and over, term after term, into the same sponsorship over and over. So that has been a great deal of help for us too. In addition to that, the sponsorship inquiry. There's a lot of information on there, and up until we actually had Kath with us, we weren't really sure what all these different fields meant, like I'm sure a lot of you guys who have been in this optimization program. But with her guidance and understanding, we were able to look into these inquiry fields and these query forms and understand what it can do for us, how we can change it to improve our processes. So that's been a really, really big win for us. And the one of the big ones is to close prior sponsored billing accounts for future archiving purposes. We started on this just since our last visit with her, which was, about 3-4 weeks ago. And we've got them closed, all the old accounts from 2006 and forward. So we are currently working from 2006 and back. And believe it or not, we still have about 1,000 more to do. So it's been great, very helpful. I didn't even realize that we could do this or what it would do if we did do this, and could we ever get back into it if that happened. So by doing this and closing these accounts, it really prevents any errors, going back and affecting some of these old sponsors and sponsorships that we've had. So we are currently working on that, and we'll hopefully have those closed here in the next, few weeks anyways. Which will be a big asset. And because of that, and that's something that's going to be required when we get ready to archive. So that will actually speed up our processes, and once we are able to, actually do some archiving. So, okay, next we have the fixed course specific rules and implementation, some best practice procedures in managing these sponsorships. There are a lot of rules in sponsorships, a lot of rules in the sponsoring side of that, and with her assistance we were able to actually look at these rules, understand what they meant, change them when we need to, depending on the particular sponsorship and sponsor, what they were requiring. So that was a big help for us also. And this is a biggie for for me especially, I should say, the discontinuation of sponsored billing for dual credit and the employee grant process. Actually, our employee grant dependents we would run a little over 500 plus each semester. So one of the things that would require is we'd have to open up a brand new account and a brand new sponsorship every single term, because to process that many every single time you did it really slowed the system down a great deal. So we actually, with her advisement, moved them off of the sponsorship side, and we're running it through registration. And like Brenda had mentioned, that it actually is so nice because the employees are labeled in their personnel file as employees, full-time employees I'm referring to. And they're in there, they're there to stay, they will stay on their personnel file until termination, and at that point they'll be removed from there. So the minute a full-time employee registers for a class, it automatically gives them that discount. And as they drop and they add and they drop and they add, that discount automatically adjusts accordingly also. Where on the sponsored billing side, that was constantly having to be handled. Every drop, every add, all that was having to be handled. This way it's all automated automatically. Same thing with the employee dependents. Once they have been confirmed through HR that they are actually a dependent, registration puts that code as an employee dependent on their personnel file, and the same process takes place. So the dropping and adding, which used to be a lot of, like I said, back and forth, is automatically done. Yes?
Now, the dependents, they have to be reconfirmed each semester?
Yes, that's correct. Right. Each semester, they're the only ones that will be requiring the grant form anymore. The full-time employees do not have to even fill one out. They simply register for their class as long as they're confirmed and are listed as an employee on their personnel file there, which they should all be because the list came from HR. And then that will automatically take place. The dependents each term will have to be verified again and added or removed. Yes?
So full-time, that's now.
That started this semester, yes, correct. Mm-hmm. So, yes?
The form was needed if you took the class during working hours.
That still would have to be approved, right, through your supervisors. If it was during your working hour, yes, and your supervisor would have to, because otherwise they're not going to allow you the time off, during that time frame. So, but this is a much better procedure. I mean, my stack of papers for employee grant was, yay high. So there's, the reduction in paper alone is a great win for all of us on that. So, and this is something that just started, so it's kind of still new to a lot of people, but it's improved our processes a great deal. Okay, we began using sponsorship for Chapter 33, veteran benefits. This is something that we picked up, and again, it casts advisement that to run the Chapter 33 veteran program, and for those of you who don't understand or know, the veteran programs, there's obviously many of them, but this VA Chapter 33, the funds actually come to the campus. They don't go to the student themselves. So if they've been approved and verified for a certain dollar amount, those funds actually come to us on campus and we process it through. All the other veteran programs, individuals actually receive the checks from the veteran services, and then they pay their account based on, pay those accounts off. So I started running the sponsored billing Chapter 33 program through sponsored billing in lieu of where it used to be, which was through financial aid. They used to put a hold on their account, or a financial aid, a pending situation on their account to keep them from that, dreaded dereg. But by doing this now, it just has kept our paperwork so much easier. They know exactly where they are, what monies they have received for that particular student. We have better control over if VA overpays, which does happen occasionally, and therefore we can refund it much easier. If they've shorted a student, that's very easy to track and to find. We work very closely with the Veteran Services up there because of that. And it just has made it very clean. There's no more spreadsheets that poor Pearl has to handle, all those years. So it's all done through sponsored billing, and it's a very clean process. Okay, and future improvements, one of our big improvements and one of our largest sponsors is the Department of Corrections. And so that's something that we're currently working on and will be in the future to kind of improve the process on that Department of Corrections. So that's kind of a in the future thing, but I really do feel like we'll have that up and going, and the improvements that she has in mind by the end of our spring semester. So that's a good one for us. Any questions on sponsored billing that you want, that you care about at all? Go back. What did I miss? Oh, I went too fast. Sorry. Thank you. Okay, student refunding. Some of this Brenda did touch on a little bit. We've changed the processing a little bit with our to try to help and handle the students' accounts with credit balance of $5 or less. One of the things that was suggested through Kath was, because we have so many, we found out from our accountants that there's so many stale dated checks that are $25 and less. A lot of those refunds pertain to the $5 transportation fee that maybe a sponsor didn't pay, then all of a sudden did. They had already paid out of pocket, things of that nature. And many students were not cashing those checks. So we've kind of implemented the policy that student refund checks of $25 or less can now be cashed at our cashiers. So we're still trying to get the word out on that, and we're slowly seeing students taking more advantage of that as we go. So the next would be the updated refund policy and formulas in the automated billing system. What this actually means is this is a very big win for us, because in the past, I'm sorry, I apologize, I didn't see you. Yes?
These off-campus people get together and they have all kinds of questions.
That's okay.
Okay, so does that mean that we can cash checks? I don't have a lot of money in my drawer.
But I doubt if you have very many students out there either that actually have.
Yeah.
Honestly, I bet that number is pretty small, if at all.
It's getting slowly bigger.
Well, she's from Welton, if you didn't know.
I'll just add too that, if you find that students are taking advantage of it, just let Brenda know, and we'll increase your cash allotment, so that, because this is for the whole district, everywhere. Okay.
Okay, the updated refund policies in the past, or what was currently set, the refund policies were already on the system. They just weren't working correctly. So any standard 16-week class and a student dropped during the drop-add period, prior to the end of the drop-add period, that class would automatically, the charges for that class would automatically be zeroed out and would be on the student's account. What was happening is that any of our late start classes, if individuals drop that class during, by policy, drop that class in time, unfortunately, the system did not reverse those charges. It would say drop, but the charges would still be there. So we would actually have to go in and manually backdate that drop date temporarily, rebill that account, add that drop date back in where it's supposed to be, and then have the credit on the account. So this, and as you know, as we have acquired more and more later start classes, this was creating a lot of handling of accounts over and over and over again. So we, with Cass's assistant actually, we were able to not change our policies in any way, but change the formulas that were on the system. So now, regardless of what type of class you have, regardless of a late start class, even a one weekend class, if they drop it within the time frame that's allowed within our ADBC policies, those charges are automatically pulled from that account. leaving the credit if there was a credit on their account. And that just helps us with our refund policy, where our refund process. We're able to get those refunds out sooner. And it's just, you can't imagine the number of students that were going, I know I dropped that class, and we're going, yep, you're right, there's a D there, but those charges were still there. So it was just has eliminated all the individual handling of those accounts that we've had to do. So we've also revised the procedures to have a single office process for our refund vouchers. Some of our vouchering is very large. If we do like dorm deposit refunds, you have numerous ones at the end of each term. So Kath has helped us with the batch process of doing that instead of individually or 5 at a time, 10 at a time. We're able to do that. So she's helped us with that. It was all available to us on there. We just didn't know how to use it. So really, probably our biggest future improvement as far as refunds go is not really, it kind of falls within the refunding process. We really are wanting to be able to apply our book vouchers, and that's primarily our military book vouchers that we handle. Financial aid, of course, handles financial aid book vouchers, but to be able to handle those book vouchers so they happen in real time. At this time, the accounts are not charged for those vouchers until the invoice comes back up from the bookstore for us. We would like to be able to get to the point where the minute the students pick up their books, that charge is automatically on their account right then and there. It helps with any errors that they may find. The student can look at their account and go, wait a minute, I didn't mean to purchase this book. I didn't need this, $150 book, and can take care of it right then and there. So their account is adjusted immediately in real time right then and there. So that's our future, and I think, Kath has already been talking about that. So I think she's coming back in February, so we could actually have her every month if we could. But anyway, so that's pretty much covers the refunding. Are there any questions on that? Anybody? Okay, good. Now you can get Brenda back.
Okay, now what this is, updated tuition and fee schedules, the refund policies. This is not necessarily a colleague procedure, but what we did with all of this data was we pretty much went through everywhere that this information was posted and just made sure that it was uniform everywhere. On the website, in the catalog, in any of our printed materials, that type of thing. We have any of our paragraphs or statements that we had to, and we also made sure that we inserted the paragraphs that said when payments were due and that sort of thing, and made sure that that was all included on the website and in the catalog. Oh, now this was a big thing. Okay, now the dereg process used to take a couple different people, a couple different days to process one dereg. Now we took the amazing Kath Berger helped make this an automated process that took one person, Janelle, only a couple hours to run one dereg. So this was a great big win for our office. Yes, ma'am?
Has dereg been done for winter or spring to date?
No, not yet.
When will it be done?
That's unclear.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because every time we do a new migration with Aleutian, we've had issues they're working on. However, the amazing Cat Berger is doing some safe lists for us so that I think before we leave today, we'll be able to run it for the winter session. And it's really important because we know there's a lot on the wait list, and we need to make sure who do we need to dereg so that other students can get in those seats. So I believe we're going to target. Kat, you want to address that?
So what Brenda's talking about is when I first came to campus back in February, okay, the process that they were using back in February was multiple people, multiple days. And we were able to, with helping them identify some different pointers and things in colleague, we were able to help IT write a program that absolutely improved that select and improved that processing time. And what's happened here for this term is that with the SQL migration, those programs that we wrote in the spring were in the Unidata language, and we're in the process of converting that to the SQL language. So that's why the dereg process hasn't, for winter and spring, hasn't yet run. And so as I have worked with these guys this week, I've thought through it, it'll be a crude process, but I think I can build a few save lists to get you through an initial dereg, and that will give your IT department time to resolve the issues and get this back into the SQL language so that it can be run on a regular basis. So-
Okay, so do we have any idea, since winter starts on Monday, and we're gonna be shutting the wait list off during the time we're down, when spring's gonna be run and when winter's gonna be run?
Well, I think if we can run them today,
Okay,
then that way, first thing Monday, it'll switch them, who's in and who's out. I may talk to Brian because they may be able to leave it on one extra day, so that tomorrow they would have to, so that the seats can be empty and filled, since we're so close to the start of winter.
oh, that would be great.
Yeah.
So we're doing our best to resolve an issue, to help you guys get going for the winter and spring, and then we'll keep making improvements there.
Are we putting winter and spring together on the same days?
I'll be honest with you, we're not gonna be able to dereg winter. I mean, we just are not gonna be able to
Because
dereg
I have
winter.
students who are wondering when they need to pay.
Well, winter, they need to be paying right immediately, because, I mean, you will be notified. We're not gonna be able to run dereg for winter at this point. Winter starts on immediately or within a matter of days and such, and if Kat gets this all put together today, we've got to send notification out to various departments letting them know that is, and Brian has requested that we actually send out a notice to all the students letting them know that we are going to do a dereg on such and such a day. So that is something he's pretty adamant of wanting, is to make sure the students are notified once again prior to the dereg. So I don't see where a winter one, and we always run into the problem, I'll be honest with you, with the dereg, where if the winter dereg, if they are still in a class for spring, I know spring ends, so the system actually pulls them out of, like, both English, they're taking English for both terms, it will pull them. So winter's kind of a scary dereg. We found that last year, so.
Yeah, I'm not so worried about winter because
Spring.
the wait list, no, winter.
Okay.
I'm not so worried about dereg for winter because the wait list is very, very small
Correct.
for that. The spring one, though, we all concerned because it's got a huge wait list.
Understand that.
And there's only so many days we have to work
So when
with.
Kat gets it put up together for us today, and we test it, we look at it, we actually spend a little bit of time to make sure that we haven't missed anyone. We have to hold off so many different departments by going
Yeah,
this
we're
way.
gonna be conservative because, again, we're rushing, and we don't wanna inadvertently dereg people who don't deserve to be dereg. That's kind of the worst case scenario. So we are going to be conservative and validate as many records as we can as, yes, this is a true valid dereg.
And our IT staff, Linda, are still working with the Lucian. I mean, what they've identified, it is a subroutine and a Lucian issue. They're trying to get that resolved too, which then would make it automated as opposed to the crude system, which is better than no system.
That's right.
To be able to get them dereg. But one way or the other, we certainly run a spring dereg, by the first of next week.
Right, correct.
So that before break, when we're turning off the wait list is next Wednesday, so that since staff won't be here to handle it, it'll be turned off and then turned back on for January 5th when people return. So we will have a dereg run, and hopefully IT, working with the Lucian Action Line, will have an automated result so it can start running every day again, on the days that we're here. But yeah, it is a concern for all of us, so that's why I appreciate Kat coming up with, well, if IT, if it just can't happen, we
Let
can
me see
do
what I
this
can do.
process.
That's really what I'm doing now is
Yeah.
if it really, if knowing that they're struggling, I'm gonna look for a less automated way, but a way that will get the seats freed up so that you can free up the wait list. And that's really,
Does that mean that dereg will run through the holidays every day, or only the days that our offices are open?
No, only when we're open, so Brian has requested IT that it will run on Wednesday, the 17th,
Right.
and then it won't run again until
So
January
students
5th.
don't have to check their email over the holidays?
No,
Because nothing will
nothing
change
will
until
happen,
we
they won't,
open it.
yeah, right, correct,
That's-
yes. Thank you. A good question, Linda, one we all want to know what's happening.
Okay. Student account management. for the future. Now, Danelle touched on this just a little bit, our archiving process. Accounts receivable has approximately 99,000 active AR accounts. Now, we all know we don't have 99,000 students here. So we're in the process of cleaning up these accounts so that we can archive them. And once they're archived, then all our processes and all our reporting will run much smoother, a lot more efficiently. We've already started this, but it's with 99,000. It's going to take a little while. Yeah. And then communications management. Now, I don't know how many of you were also in there, a few of you, but Danelle and I took that 3-day class that was a couple of weeks ago to learn how to do this communications management. And a lot of people on campus, I think, already have that training too. So we'll be using that to email different reminders, payment date reminders, and anything that we need to do to get blasts out to students. And last but not least, this is the Holy Grail right there. Colleague self-service. Student finance views. And what this is excuse me, this helps us see that now when the student goes on their web advisor and they can see their account, they can see their payments, they can make payments, they can call us and we can log on and we can see exactly what they see. So if they say, oh, well, it looks like this to us, and we're just logging on to their account, ARTI screen and colleague and going, well, I don't see what you're talking about. Well, we can log on and see exactly what it is that they're seeing. So that will be so helpful for us because just to be able to communicate with them that way. Absolutely. Let me introduce the amazing Kath Berger.
Honestly, I've been working with the amazing Brenda and the amazing Danelle all year. Without them, none of this would have been possible. But what I want to say about the colleague self-service and the student finance views in particular is everything that you've seen in the presentation has all been precursor work to making this the best experience online a student can have. Okay, so we have taken all this optimization that everybody is working on is leading towards a better online experience for the student. And the next piece of that puzzle for AWC is this product that we call Colleague Self-Service and Student Finance Views. And as you can see, the interface is graphically improved to from what you know as Web Advisor today. And the other major piece of this for the student accounts area is the online student statement. Part of this optimization project was to help you guys get back to a baseline and get away from custom. And in the accounts receivable area, they have a custom AR statement. Okay, and with the advent of use of the student finance views, it is our hope and my firm belief that we can get rid of that piece of customization so that the student can go online at any time and get a statement anytime they want. And that is huge in terms of processing in an AR office, because now they can get away from the idea of having to run a student statement, because a student, they can always say to a student, you can go online and pull a statement every day if you want. So I can't emphasize enough the importance of this last piece of the puzzle as it relates to your students' online experience in the future. So I'm very excited. We've worked a whole year together as a team. You know, I've had tremendous support from not only Danelle and Brenda, but Carol and Diana and everybody in business services. It's been my pleasure and honor to help AWC improve their processes, and I just continue to look forward to making even more improvements for you all in the future. So thank you for all of your support.
Thank Brenda, Danelle, and the amazing Cat Burger. We've been teasing her about the amazing Cat Burger. But I have to tell you, but Brenda and Danelle, though, is amazing too, because many of you are probably aware, we started the project, their supervisor's been out, they really just took ownership and stepped in and started taking ownership of everything, all these changes they had to happen. Kat has gone above and beyond, has come in at 6 a.m. to work with us sometimes on things, stayed late, you know, thinks about things when she's here in the hotel room, comes back next morning, okay, last night I figured out we could do this, this, and this, has gone so far beyond, but great presentation, ladies. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming. It's a very busy time, and we'll get that D-Reg run for spring. Yes? Oh, any other questions?
Can I piggyback on, yeah, it's only
Yeah.
questions, I thought this was my.
Yeah.
Can I
Yes.
just piggyback on something that you said? I'd like to come back to the forms for full-time tuition grants. I just want to not confuse anybody. If you are a full-time person who is taking a class during the day, a retiree, or a part-time person, or it's a dependent of yours, you still have to fill out appropriate forms and get their signatures. If you are a full-time employee who is not taking the class during the day, you do not have to fill out that full-time piece. However, it's the only form that changes. Still be really sure that you get your, oh Patty, what am I trying to say? Thank you. Your educational growth documents into Patty so that you do have that whole course approved and that your program is approved so that you don't lose that. It's only the one thing that's changing. The rest still stays with your cumulative final. And I just didn't.
Thank you for clarifying.
Thank you for letting me jump in on that.
Yeah, that's great. Any other questions? Yes.
On the resolving the capping issues, it said it didn't change any policies, but it did make a big impact to out-of-state students. The tuition on 13, 14, and 15
Right.
is essentially raised the tuition $700 for all.
Actually, about $927.
Well, they were paying $228 before, now they're paying $927. So
Right,
the
right,
difference is
right,
$699. And this came right in the middle of registration, where some students had already budgeted and planned. So I'm just wondering if there's any possibility that we can address that issue.
Well,
because
it's been addressed with the president and with others, and what happened is our policy was 15 all along. What we found was there was an error in the formula, and so the decision was we need to correct that because we really don't want to treat our out-of-state even more favorably than our in-state students that are with the local taxes and all. And so the decision was debated and discussed, but it was decided that yes, we need to change it now. It mainly impacts international students and some athletes. And, but at least in all the discussions I've had, I was told we need to move forward for the spring semester. And so, you know, there's always discussion can happen, but the decision was made. The president had approved, moved forward with it right away. And so it was implemented for spring. Yeah, so really didn't change the policy. They're absolutely correct. The policy always had 15.
But the practice had been
But,
continued
well,
for
in the
12
practice,
years.
the practice was because there was an incorrect formula that wasn't found until we had amazing Kath on campus looking at every piece. And that's part of what the optimization's about. How do we get away from customization? How do we make sure we're doing what our policies say we're doing? And so really that was a correction that will impact some students. And, but the decision was we still need to move forward with it. So it is moving forward for spring. Any other questions? Anyone? Well, thank you again. Thank you for your time. Have a great holiday.